There are a couple of things that why I like doing the Raptors games and like watching them. The first one is the obvious one is the coach Nick Nurse's approach and how he's tweaking things, doing different things based on the matchup. The other one is and I think you saw this a lot in the Pacers game. Something doesn't work on the court in game. You'll see players eye contact to the other his teammates and word or two is exchanged. You can see the adjustment. Not everybody does that, do they?
Well, some guys get married to the pregame meeting, video session, walkthrough, practice, game plan, and I wouldn't say reluctant. I think I wouldn't even say stubborn. I think committed, and it's a positive word. That hey, I believe in these concepts, and these are the best ways I think we can win, and we're going to stick to it, and we're going to see it through, and it's going to work. I think that's a great attitude to have. At the same time, you got to look on the other end of the court and say, hey, I respect my opponent. My opponent's pretty smart, too, and they're prepared to play, and they have video sessions, they have walkthroughs, they have practices, and they're doing things to counter me. It's the book, Sun Tzu, Art of War, Choose Your Battlefield, right? At some point in time, I'm going to try to engage you in a way that's going to make you uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, you could do one of two things. You could either flip the switch and make me uncomfortable and change up your strategy, or continue to be uncomfortable and likely go down to defeat. So I think Nick Nurse is very good on his feet. There's a big difference between a peacetime general and a wartime general. And I think when things aren't working right before your eyes, you gotta be humble enough to say, you know what, this guy's done a good job preparing for me. He's outflanking me right now. I got to do something to now make him uncomfortable. I got to change the rules of engagement here. And I think he does a very good job live in-game action of doing that. And it's funny, you look at what happened on Christmas Day, fellas, when the Golden State Warriors upset the Houston Rockets. This same Warrior team that the Raptors beat in the finals last year, and also beat them 6 out of 8 times, all 4 times, by the way, in Oakland. No doubt they're the rightful champs. And they were complaining about junk defenses and all this nonsense. Well, what are they doing against James Harden?
Did you see that? Yeah, that's classic.
Right? A lot of the same stuff the Raptors were doing. So I think Nick Nurse, the experience that he had, coaching in Europe, coaching in the G League, having been a college assistant, all those kind of things, having been a pro assistant, and having the opportunity to learn the league, working for Dwayne Casey for that time. And I think that's a big thing for him that he had the opportunity, even though he's been a head coach for the majority of his career, to learn the NBA so that when his chance came, he knew what he wanted to do as a pro coach. And to me, I think he's done a lot of those things, and I think a lot of pro coaches, and this is my 22nd year in the NBA after a 14-year career coaching in college, and the stuff that college coaches used to do in the college game, obviously, which is a different game, and having a best seat in the house the last 22 years watching this, I think a lot of pro coaches just go out there with their base coverage and they roll with it. Well, guess what? If I have an inferior team or if you have the superior team that night, I'm going to lose if I just sit in my base coverage or if I sit with my basic plan, because talent trumps everything with a 24-second shot clock. And I think Nick Nurse brings something to me as a former coach that I look at, a guy that's willing to try, willing to do things different, kind of be counterintuitive, countercultural, that a lot of pro coaches, in my opinion, are lazy and won't try. And you see guys get recycled every 3 years, going from one bad job to another, and they come in and use the same boring stuff, and they keep getting fired, yet they keep getting jobs. So a guy like Nick Nurse, to me, is very refreshing, and no doubt a guy that is forcing other pro coaches to change their mentality.